Hey everyone, it's Nico, here with a couple retro re-releases that recently came out. They have nothing in common, truthfully, other than the fact that they're both pretty hard, I guess. And the first one we're going to look at is called Rendering Ranger, R2 Rewind. Now, depending on which platform you get this on, it could be a little bit different. They did do pre-orders for the Super Nintendo version, which is basically just the ROM on a cartridge. And then additionally, there are modern versions on pretty much all the different platforms. And this is available digitally, but it's also available physically. There were pre-orders, again, like the Super Nintendo version, and these were handled by Limited Run. Yes, I hear you, I know, I feel that same way, trust me. But Limited Run handled the physical releases. Pre-orders are closed, and as usual, they're not in the hands of those that ordered them months ago. They're supposed to come out in the middle of the summer. So check the online retailers like PNP. They'll probably have some physical copies if you want this that way. But this is called Rendering Ranger, and it is a side-scrolling shooter that plays very similar to Contra of this era. And for a lot of us, like myself, we didn't play this game because it never released in America, it never released in Europe, only released in Japan in 1995. And not only is it a side-scrolling shooter that is very similar to Contra, so fans of Contra will probably be delighted with this because I know I was. There are also shoot-'em-up stages, and both of these are really great. The game is very hard though, but it does have rewind and save states if you want to use those and make it a little bit more forgiving. There are options you can tweak in the game settings that'll help a little bit, but I think by and large most of us are probably going to need rewind at least some of the time in order to make decent progress in this. But genuinely, like, I had a lot of fun with this game. Played through several stages of it. I think I'm almost at the end. It does a good job of teaching you what the power-ups and stuff do, because they did something that I expect in every retro re-release. This, I have been screaming from the clouds, should be the norm. There are manual scans. Now, obviously, it was only released in Japan, but they did translate the manuals into English. There's also some concept artwork, and there's a music museum, so you can listen to the soundtrack, which is pretty solid. And then additionally, they did include Targa, which is, from what I can tell, just the same game. I did play some of it, and it seemed exactly the same. The main difference is that your character just looks different. Targa was supposed to be the English release for this game, but it just never came out. But they did include it here, so that's pretty cool. Running through this and blasting enemies is a lot of fun. It controls really great too, because you can use the L and R buttons to basically shoot at a diagonal up or a diagonal down if you need to. It's not quite as good as being able to lock your feet in place and then aim freely using the D-pad or the thumbstick. That's the norm nowadays, but keep in mind this came out 30 years ago, so just having this is good enough. At least it was for me. There's some pretty epic boss fights, and you can see a lot of really cool visual effects like the Mode 7, and there's gigantic boss sprites and detail. There's an impressive amount of pre-rendered models in this. I'm sure that was probably at least somewhat inspired by Donkey Kong Country, which did that really well. But just overall, like, this was a game that I had a lot of fun with, and I think it aged pretty well, especially with the fact that the difficulty isn't as brutal, like I said, with the rewind and the save feature. But this is one that you should definitely check out. It doesn't really matter what platform you get this on. I think fundamentally they're all going to be the same. I played it on the Switch, so being a pixel art game and running on Limited Run's Carbon engine, those experiences are going to be pretty comparable. And I don't think any of you that are watching this, if you haven't already ordered it, are going to get a physical copy on the Super Nintendo, because I think those pre-orders closed and they already shipped. But this was Rendering Ranger R2 Rewind. Kind of a wordy, weird title, but that's what it's called. Check it out on your platform of choice because blasting baddies in both side-scrolling stages and shoot-'em-up levels was a lot of fun. So this next game, you guys, I'm going to be fully transparent with you. I don't know why this is getting re-released because it's brutally difficult. I don't think anyone could possibly enjoy this game unless you're a complete masochist. I played for like 10 minutes and I got 2 game overs. And the important thing to note is that this is the European version that they're re-releasing, which is slightly more forgiving than the original American version. But other than that, like, this is a straight port being released by Incubate Games. And if you want to order a physical, and they also have digital copies available as well from their store, I'll have a link in the pinned comment below. So head over there. Maybe you're a collector, or maybe you're a straight masochist. Hey, I don't judge. But my time playing this was met with one thing and one thing only, and that is pain. This is a 2D platformer. It's nothing like the original Dragon's Lair game. Obviously, being on the Game Boy, you're not able to do that. But this is so simple to play. All you do is move and jump. Both the B button and the A button simply jump. And your main objective in this is to collect all of the life stones, and these are typically placed in locations that are intended to get you killed. A lot of the time, I was just bypassing them. I don't know if you necessarily need them all to beat the game. I know your objective is to collect them, but the world is open from what I can tell. At the start, you can go right or you can go left. I tried going both ways. Both ways, I was met with a swift demise. But, I mean, the game mostly controls okay, but you fall through platforms a lot. You can't really tell what you can jump on and what you can't. Sometimes you can't even tell what's gonna kill you and what's not gonna kill you. And anybody that's familiar with the Dragon's Lair games, other than the arcade original, knows that they're brutal. I mean, if you've never seen the Angry Video Game Nerd cover the NES release,
this game is notorious among gamers as being one of the most frustrating games in existence.
That's how I felt playing this, was that I was just being brutalized. Lots of pain. And to be clear, they warned me that this was going to be painful. I'm a little bit of a masochist, but probably not as much as some of you guys, so I wanted to give it a try anyways. But this isn't one I want to continue with, but it was an interesting 10 minutes to dabble in for sure. I think they had some good ideas and some good design elements in terms of varying the gameplay, especially for a Game Boy release. But I don't enjoy being brutalized by my games for the sake of being brutalized by my games. So this wasn't one I had fun with. But I think it's interesting that it is a licensed title and that they re-released it. So hey, that's pretty cool. Incubate Games mostly releases a lot of homebrew indie games on physical cartridge and digital, for those of you that enjoy that. So definitely check them out just in general if you're not already familiar with what they do. I will be covering more of their releases in the future, and I'm actually going to be releasing a video pretty soon on a really cool Game Boy Advance puzzle game. So be on the lookout for that. But this second game here was Dragon's Lair The Legend. Pre-orders are open now. If you want to order a copy, again, check the pinned comment. If you want to see if you could beat this, I think the world record's like 15 minutes. And I might have to look that up and take a peek at it, because genuinely, I want to see that. Like, I want to see somebody that mastered this game, because that's beyond my comprehension of how to be good at this. But anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. Comment below and let me know if you've ever played either of these games or if you plan on it. And if you played Dragon's Lair, how far did you get? I'm curious to see how many of you actually got like more than 10 minutes into this game without getting a game over. But as always, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you next time.